Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's certainly my pleasure today to have some special guests here with us. And before I begin with the two introductions at length that I have, I want to take the opportunity to introduce some folks who have come to also recognize Major Chuck Guess and Sergeant Che Cook. First of all, we're honored to have in our Assembly chambers today New York State Police Superintendent Joseph D'Amico, Lieutenant Colonel George Beach, from the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision, Deputy Commissioner Joseph Bellner, Assistant Commissioner James O'Gorman, Colonel Dennis Bradford, the Director of CERT, Director of Crisis Intervention Unit Scott Kelly, and the Technical Security Specialist Gary Waldron, as well as Franklin County Sheriff Kevin Mulverhill. And it's now my honor thank you, gentlemen. It's now my honor to introduce Major Charles E. Guess, New York State Police Troop B Commander, in recognition of his outstanding leadership skills and professionalism during the 23-day search following the escape of two murderers from Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora. From June 6 to June 28, 2015, Major Guess directed over 1,500 federal, state, and local law enforcement personnel from 16 agencies who were involved in the arduous search. As many as 532 state troopers and 200 state investigators were deployed, along with New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision correction officers, including the Correction Emergency Response Team's CERT, Department of Environmental Conservation Forest Rangers and Police, U.S. Border Patrol, FBI, U.S. Marshals, Vermont State Police, sheriff's offices from Franklin, Clinton, Essex, Washington, and Broome counties, and police departments from the city of Plattsburgh, Village of Malone, and St. Regis Mohawk Tribe. Under the speculation of the public, including some of my colleagues in this chambers and various news media, that the two escaped convicts were someplace far away, morale among the more than 1,000 searchers from these various agencies was being tested. Major Guess remained focused in his belief that without evidence to the contrary, the assumption must remain that the two escaped inmates were still in the region of the escape. Under the stellar leadership of Major Guess, the courageous men and women under his command worked 16 to 24-hour shifts under hot, humid, often rainy conditions, manning numerous roadblocks throughout the region, searching dense woods, fields, and abandoned, often isolated buildings on some of the North Country's most difficult terrain. In addition, the lack of radio communications further hindered the perilous situation, as law enforcement agencies were often unable to communicate with each other. At the end of their long days, the state troopers and other law enforcement personnel returned late at night from their deployments, visibly exhausted after being pushed to the limits both physically as well as mentally. Major Guess, along with every member of law enforcement personnel, sacrificed precious time with family and friends to respond to this life-threatening situation, which put the lives of all the residents of not only the North Country and the state of New York, but neighboring states and Canada in danger. On the 21st day of this grueling search, June 26, in a wooded area off Route 30 in the town of Malone, Franklin County, a U.S. Customs and Border Protection tactical team member fatally shot escapee Richard Matt. 2 days later, on June 28th, the search ended when New York State Police Sergeant Jay Cook chased down the other escaped inmate, discharging his firearm and capturing David Sweat. Although many lives were disrupted during this tedious 23-day search, no law enforcement personnel or private citizens were injured or killed, due in large part to the competent and expert leadership skills, training, and experience of Major Charles Guess. I am especially pleased to honor Major Guess and to introduce his very proud wife, Eleanor. The strong leadership skills and unselfish devotion of Major Guess and his long career as a dedicated public servant epitomize the high standards of our New York State Police. Although Major Guess was assigned to Troop B Headquarters Ray Brook just a few months before the June escape, there is no doubt Major Charles Guess was the right man in the right place at the right time to bring this escape to a successful completion. I will also add that in addition to my professional working relationship and respect for major guests, on a personal level, I'm particularly proud to call Chuck Guess a friend. Mr. Speaker, before I go on and introduce Sergeant Cook, I ask that you welcome Major Guess and his wife Eleanor to these chambers.
Certainly. On behalf of Mr. Duprey, the Speaker, and all the members, we welcome you, Major Batts, here to the New York State Assembly. We commend to you the privileges of the floor. We applaud your work in this critical issue, and we hope that you will continue to keep our state safe. Thank you so very much for being here with us.